Show with Daniel P. Carter. It's the Radio 1 Rock Show. This show may contain swears and heavy content. You have been warned.
How's it going? Welcome to the Radio 1 Rock Show. Me, Daniel P. Carter. Tonight, a very special show, a Slipknot special. 2 hours of the Knot coming up. Oof. We have got so much good stuff. We have raided the BBC archives. Going to do a full retrospective of the band. We're going to be playing tons of their music. And then we are going to be playing the incredible session or live show that they did for us down at Maida Vale Studios, where we did a competition and basically 120 people got to cram into Maida Vale Studios and see one of the greatest metal bands on the planet just level the place. Amazing. Hit me up, let me know what's going on in your world. 81199 on the text. Find me on Twitter. I want to know about all your favourite Slipknot moments. First time you heard the band. First time you saw them play. Also, if you were at the Astoria show, the legendary show that happened in '99 in London, their first UK date, let me know. We need to talk about this in a bit. Just then you heard Nero Forte. That's the song of the weekend on Radio 1 this weekend. It's been played a bunch. So if you've caught that during the day, congratulations. It's a beautiful thing to have something like that. So let's talk about Slipknot. Masked 9-man wrecking machine. Grammy award winning, sold millions of albums worldwide. Headline Download Festival 4 times. They have their own festival. And it will also see this year them taking a cruise ship for Knotfest at Sea. So let's start from the very beginning. It all started in 1997. The 9-piece band from Des Moines, Iowa formed. I think I heard about the band that time through Kerrang, because that was pretty much the way that you would discover new things. I just remember seeing pictures of this band and going, whoa, there's way too many people in this band. How does that even work? What are they all doing? And it wasn't until I got to see them that it all made sense. So, first up, we're going to hear from Corey, lead singer of the band, frontman extraordinaire, talking about the band's forming. This is Corey Taylor. Check it out.
You know, we had all kind of come up in the scene in various bands together, you know. I'd actually moved away. I'd moved to Denver when Slipknot was being formed. And when I came back and we kind of put Stone Sour back together, they were in the baby stages. I just remember looking around going, God, he's from Montefiore, he's from Heads on the Wall, Vex. I mean, I was like, what is going on here, man, you know? And there were so many of them even then. I mean, there were still 7 people in the band, you know? And I was just like, oh, God, what is going on here? We instinctively knew that there was a lot of work to do, and we knew that it was whatever it takes. You know, I think that's why we kind of were attracted to each other as far as, like, you know, musicians and stuff. And it proved to be the wise choice, because, I mean, when we went out on the first album, it was just work, work, work. And we couldn't have done that without the 9 of us.
Here's Clown speaking about getting signed.
I can remember people in the band coming up to me saying, we need to get a record deal. So truthfully, what does that mean? I'm like, oh, is that like the WB on the back of Diver Down, Warner Brothers? Like, is that? So let's go get a record deal.
Here comes the pain!
You have to make a demo. All right. So we go make a demo. I pay for it. All right, let's go get a record deal. You got to send it. What are you talking about? I'm like, give me a list. To this day, I still have the original list of all the record labels that we want to send our demo to. I'm like, just give me a list with phone numbers and I'll get it signed. That's how I thought, man. I didn't know there's a game. I just always knew we were like, there's just no way. We're it. So the very first name on the list is Roadrunner at the top.
So the band signed a 7-album deal with Roadrunner Records in 1998 and released their self-titled debut in 99. So quickly, the band shot to popularity. They got added to the Ozfest bill in the States, where they played with the likes of Sabbath and Deftones and Slayer and System of a Down, etc. The talk of those shows just became legendary straight off the bat. That was when all the chit-chat about the band carrying around a jar with a dead crow in it that they used to huff before going on stage to get psyched up. I just remember all these stories and seeing like bits and pieces about the band and just going, this is just carnage. It's the best. So by the end of 99, it was time for their UK debut. They played at London's Astoria to a crowd of just over 2,000 people. Gigs obviously reached legendary status. Corey even joked about it on stage at the O2 a couple of weeks back, basically saying that the capacity of that venue was 2,000, but there's about 50,000 people that speak about it as if they were there. I think I was there, but I'll be honest, I don't really remember. I was going to a ton of gigs at that time. It was all a little bit wavy. I don't remember an awful lot of stuff, but I have vague recollections of going. So this story was like obviously one of the most legendary venues in London. It was a beautiful old theatre, like enormous stage, and it obviously played home to some of the most legendary gigs, and the metal gigs in particular ever, like Korn's first ever show was there, obviously Slipknot's first UK show. But I just remember walking from the upstairs to the downstairs and there being sweat like all up the wall. I think that was them. And I think that was also the time when Sid dived off the balcony, which is just crazy. Anyways, if you were there, hit me up, let me know, because I could do with a memory jog. I'm not going to be a poser and go, oh, I was definitely there. I was definitely there. I don't remember. Anyway, here's a clip of when Marianne Hobbs, one of the previous presenters of the Radio 1 Rock Show, big up Marianne, she spoke to the band at 99 just before the show at the Astoria. Check it out.
It's the Radio 1 Rock Show. Slipknot are with us this evening. And we should say this band are in the UK to play their first ever British date. Your first ever show at the Astoria. That's 2,000 kids.
Yeah, after I break that monitor, it'll probably be our last.
You think so?
I'm going to break it. I'm going to just, bust it up.
Sean, I'm just wondering how you're going to be able to do this gig at all, actually, because you said you were flipping for punches. You better tell us what happened to you.
Here's the thing. I brought that up.
Do it.
Okay.
There's this thing where Sean and Sid flip for a punch in the face. What that means is that basically I'll flip a coin and the winner gets to, if I win, I punch you in the face. If I lose, I'll take a punch and not bitch about it. But so Sean and Sid do this ritualistically before every show. Sid always loses in America.
You're listening to the Slipknot special on the Radio 1 Rock Show. Me, Daniel P. Carter, for the next hour and 40 minutes. All Slipknot, including a very special set from Maida Vale Studios that they recorded for us 2 weeks ago today. So, shout out everyone that's locked in for this. Kerry, M, Ninja Demons, Hayden, Tom, James, Andrew, Jack and Becca. I asked you for some of your Slipknot memories. Hit me up on Twitter, 81199 on the texts. When did you first see the band? When did you first hear them? What were your thoughts? Ollie says, saw them in London in January. Best gig I've ever been to. Roll on Knotfest in August. Octane Fire. First saw them in Manchester in 2008. Saw them last month again in the same arena. Incredible. Craig says, seen them for the first time at Leeds Festival in 2002 and loved them ever since. Even named my son after Corey. That is nice. This is one of the things, right, that you forget about this band. Until you've actually sort of seen a little bit without, pardon the pun, like seen beyond the mask a little bit. They are one of the nicest bands you're ever going to meet. They're all super smart, super funny. But then when they play, it's a whole other thing. Lisa says, I saw Slipknot in 2009 at Download Festival and was lucky enough to meet Corey and Jim back in 2010. Corey spent ages talking to everyone and then held a crying baby and sang her to sleep. One of the nicest guys in heavy metal. See? There you go. Amazing. Tony and William, we were at Maida Vale a couple of weeks ago. Amazing. Thank you. First saw them last year at Download, then Glasgow this year, Maida Vale, and going to Knotfest as well in August. Luke says, first saw Slipknot in 1999 on their debut UK tour, Wolverhampton Civic. They blew half the PA. Amazing. Right. Whew, we have got a lot to get through. In 2001, Slipknot unleashed their second album, Iowa, which hit number 1 in the UK album charts. It has been the benchmark for a lot of their fans. It's been interesting, I think, because every time there's news about there's going to be a new Slipknot record, the internet being what it is, often always harks back to Iowa. Here's Clown speaking to Zane Lowe back in 2011, reflecting on the making of that album.
To understand Iowa, you have to understand the first record. You have your whole life to make your first record. Next thing you know, you get a record deal. You find yourself in L.A. in a practice space down the hall as KISS, rehearsing all original members and makeup for their world tour. Surrealism, right, for us, being from Iowa. And then you go to the Malibu, Hollywood Hills, to Indigo Ranch, and you make this record for 3.5 months. Next thing you know, we're on Ozfest, and boom, rocket ride since then. And we achieved so much, a lifetime of beauty and dreams, and it was fun. But at the same time, there was all this jealousy and hatred towards us because of what we had created. And all that went into Iowa. My first memory of Iowa was Paul asking his little brother Tony if they could practice in his basement. And he said yes. So Paul, Joey, and Jim got right to work on Iowa. No time off at all. And right then and there, I knew that this was insane. And it went into 3 stages. It went from Paul's little brother's basement, then we moved into this giant warehouse, and it really wasn't working. It was too ambient. It wasn't our place. And then it ended up in my house. And I remember my band moving into my house in the basement before my family did. That just shows you, like, where we were, you know. And we built this room with black carpet, and we finished the record up there in my basement. And then, you know, there was a little board in the back of Joey, and it's like, I remember him writing, "We're out of here." And it meant that we were on our way to Sound City and getting ready for pre-pro again with Ross.
Here's Corey reflecting on the unexpected success of the band.
With as many strikes as we had against us out of the gate, you know, 9 members, metal band at that time, coming from Iowa, wearing masks, just doing this incredibly nutty stuff. I was like, this isn't supposed to happen for us. But then again, maybe it was. If I think about it too long, my head explodes, literally.
Rock Show Radio 1!
But I never thought we'd be palatable for the mainstream, you know? And in a lot of ways, we're not, but we just refuse to take no for an answer, you know? It's like, you're going to love us. All right, we're going to love you. I knew we would be like one of those bands that would be big in a wholly different way, kind of like the Melvins, stuff like that, you know, that's just under the radar. And when we broke through, I was flabbergasted, to be honest. You know, it's not very often you get to use flabbergasted in a sentence, so I'm very stoked that I pulled that out.
Warning! These songs may have lyrics that will offend your mother. If she is currently driving, you may want to change the channel to avoid any future awkwardness.
So after the heights of Iowa, in the middle of 2002, the band went their separate ways to focus on some of their side projects and clear their head. Corey and Jim reviving Stone Sour, Clown doing To My Surprise. Drummer Joey Jordison started the Murder Dolls with Wednesday 13, and Sid focusing on DJ Starscream. But then when they came back together, they worked with legendary producer Rick Rubin, a man that has worked previously with people like the Beastie Boys, Red Hot Chili Peppers, Slayer, Smashing Pumpkins, Black Sabbath, etc., etc., etc. The man is a living legend. And they came out with Volume 3, The Subliminal Verses. The album peaked within the top 10 of album sales across 11 countries, platinum in the US. Unreal scenes.
Slipknot is here, and as that sign says, we are finally headlining Download in 2000.
I don't know if it was just the emotion behind it, behind Download, but I mean, the crowd, bar none, the best UK audience we've ever had. After the show, man, I was blown away. I was like, wow. You know, this has got to be what it feels like to be in Iron Maiden, to be in Metallica, to be in AC/DC. Yeah, that's got to be what it feels like, you know. And I started bawling, like openly weeping in front of people. And I was like, you know what? You let me cry. It's my party. I'll cry if I want to.
I'm telling you right now, I have dreamed about this moment since I was 12 years old. And all I can say is thank you so much for being here with us tonight. You have no idea what that means.
So in August 2009, whilst Corey was back in the UK, and after Slipknot's first download headline set, All Hope Is Gone had come out in 2008, and I sat down with Corey to reflect on the band's career up until that point. Here he is.
What would you say is your proudest moment in the last 10 years with Slipknot?
Besides Download, which is, I mean, that's the obvious.
Yeah.
Number one album. Consensus-wise, overall, like worldwide, you know? I mean, getting the number one, you know, I mean, we'd had it in the UK before, but getting it in the US, you know, say what you want about America, but when you're from there, you know, when you get that, when you achieve that, that's huge because that's your home, you know. Yeah. I'm just glad that we got it when we did, you know, because we could appreciate it. If we'd have gotten it 5, you know, even 10 years ago, it wouldn't have been the same.
When you recorded the first album, do you think if somebody said, yeah, you're going to have a number one record?
Not a chance on that in hell. Maybe top 10, you know. I was, like, seriously, I honestly looked at us as a band like the Melvins or you know, Black Flag, like a band that would be influential, because I knew we were great, you know, I knew we were good, but I didn't look at us as viable for that kind of success, man. I honestly did not. So no, I mean, it wasn't even an option. Honestly, I didn't think I never gave us a chance up until All Hope Is Gone. And I called it. I said, this will be our first number one album. You watch. And we did. And I was still surprised. I was like, oh, God, we really got it? Woo!
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Very long until their Maid of Ale set. So, a lot of people tuning in, especially for this one. Liam says, first time I ever saw Slipknot was at Download 2013. First time I'd ever gone to see a band live. Ooh, holy cow, they blew me away. Even if I did end up in the medical tent. Seen them every time they've been in the UK since. Amazing band, and the energy live is unreal. Dean says, I was first introduced to Slipknot in 1999 by a friend at sixth form college. I've been a fan ever since. I first got to see them live at Ozfest in Milton Keynes in 2001. Seen them live several times since, more recently in Birmingham Arena 2 weeks ago. A lot of amazing memories coming in. If you want to get in contact, use Twitter, hit me up. Use the hashtag R1Slipknot, 81199 on the texts. Ben Wilmot says, loving the Slipknot binge tonight. First time I saw them was 2011 at Nebworth for Sonisphere on that Paul Gray Memorial Tour. It was 2 minutes tribute that day, was eerily moving. So I actually remember that day very well because I was asked by the band to actually basically lead the 2 minute silence at Sonisphere. And I remember getting on site that morning, getting on with some work, seeing a bunch of bands, but the whole day I had this terrible pang of anxiety because I was totally stressing out about what was I going to say, how was it going to go, what if people weren't quiet, you know, there was total fear. And then 10 minutes before it was due to happen, I was told, no, it's cool, stand down, Corey's going to do it. And I was like, thank you. I had a very large drink. 5 minutes later, someone came back up to me and said, no, actually, you do need to do it because Corey can't face doing it. So it was the most nervous I'd ever been. I was stressing out, but it was a beautiful thing to go out on that stage where his bass and his overalls and mask were hung and the entire festival site was just silent for 2 minutes. Everything. No sound. Nothing but pure love and respect. This was all because tragically, obviously on May 24th, Paul Gray passed away. The band closed themselves off for some time after his passing. to process the enormity of losing their bandmate and brother. And here's Jim Root speaking about the band's steps after Paul passing.
You know, after Paul left us, we took some time and we went out and we toured, you know, to see if we could do it without him. And if you're going to take that step, then obviously we're all thinking, well, this is testing the water to see if we can do a record as well. You know, we've done it. We've been able to tour without him. Can we do a record? And we've done that. Now it's, where do we go? What do you do? You know what I mean? Is that it? We've proved to ourselves that we can do it. There's a legacy of a person that was a huge part of this band, that lived and breathed and loved this band so much that, you know, to let all that stuff fly by the wayside would be a great waste. If nothing else, we owe it to him.
So for the Radio 1 documentary in 2015 called Slipknot Hellbound, I spoke to Corey about taking on the writing of their fifth album, Volume 5, The Grey Chapter, and the difficulties after everything the band had been through.
The pressure making this album must have been horrific.
Yeah. I mean, we did our best to shield each other from it. We, you know, basically shut the website down. Yeah. We stopped any mentions in any of the social networks. We just basically wanted to do it, you know, and we knew if we had too much scrutiny going in, we wouldn't be able to focus on it completely and be able to tell the kind of story that we wanted to tell. Even though we had done those tours beforehand, it was literally like we were all so gnarly. We would show up, we would play the shows, and we would kind of go back to our little space and just dealing with it. But once we got in the studio, and once actually people started reading my lyrics, they really were like, oh, okay. And we started sharing a lot. We started talking a lot. And we started realizing that we were all carrying these strange versions of guilt. Was there more I could have done? Was there more I could have said? Should we have pushed more? You know, I mean, survivor's guilt is a hell of a thing. And it can manifest itself in so many different ways. And because we were all able to talk about it, it left nothing to interpretation as far as we were concerned when we put it on the album. So I think in a way that reinforced what we were doing for the album, and we just became free. It was less about what we thought the world wanted to hear and more about what we wanted to play for the world. And it just...
On the record.
As a whole, it is probably the furthest we've pushed the boundaries of creativity and experimentation, while also not losing our identity. Yeah. So there are bands out there who they go for that, like all of that experimentation, and they forget who they are. Yeah. They forget that there's an audience that wants to hear a certain type. It doesn't have to be the exact thing, but there has to be a certain emotion that they are looking for, that they want to hear, and that's why we were
drew them into that band.
Exactly. You know, there has to be that touchstone. You know, you can go as far out as you want, but you have to be able to pull them back to that feeling that made them fans in the first place. Yeah. And I really think we did that. That was this album. Like, we not only went places that we've hinted at musically over the years, but never really went full bore. But we're also doing heavier things than we've ever done. Yeah. Salt Way Firth is probably one of the heaviest songs we've written since the Iowa levels of heavy, because that song is a goddamn jackhammer. Yeah. And it is going to cave people's heads in. And I'm ready for it.
It all, to me, the most important way of breaking that down for myself in my head is just like to make it all the same. You know, and that's not a diss to our experience here today or the experience last night at O2 or any show over the last, 6 years of me playing with these guys. It's, to me, the chemistry between the nine of us on stage or in a studio, that's what's within our control, and my contribution to that is within my control. Everything that happens in front of the stage is completely, that's chance. Like, that's just circumstantial, and it's a living, breathing entity. Each night and each performance is completely its own thing. This experience here today will be very different from last night at the O2. They're all special in their own way, but I think what I do for myself is just to be like, it's all the just commitment to what the nine of us are doing.
I'm stoked on this. It feels like a club show.
Yeah.
We've been talking about trying to do a club show, and I don't know how we would
this is what I want
to do it, but this is
the test run.
This is where we came from. We were talking, not to interrupt, we were upstairs
You know, and sometimes you can make this too much. But I remember in 98, 99, 2000, we were somewhere in Europe, and they're like, you're going to do a television show, and Blink-182 is getting done, and we were supposed to start, and then another band. I mean, we didn't think about it. We just jumped in. Next thing I know, Sid's being tossed around the crowd with no shoes on, and you know, Travis Barker's watching, and it's just like, this is what we do, you know. So it feels good because it's where we came from. You can't take this out of where we are. I mean, people can act like they want to act different, but this is as much real as last night was.
Yeah.
You know, it's as long as they're here, then it's actually makes more sense.
Yeah. So Jim, this has been the first time playing a few of the tracks from We Are Not Your Kind. How are you finding playing them, especially amongst the classics, I guess?
It's very important to evolve, but not to evolve so far away from where you came from. And I think we got a pretty good balance of that going. And it's also a learning process. I mean, for me, writing arrangements is new, whether it's, you know, doing it at my house, in my garage, or in a studio with these guys when we just jam and come up with these nuggets. And then here we are performing it. Just so it's, in a way, it's maybe like watching a child grow up. You know what I mean? And then you kind of release them out into the world and see how they do.
A tour like this is honestly like the most gratifying celebration of that entire like isolated process, because it's like, you know, it's 3 years of throwing ideas at each other in isolation in a complete vacuum, that you get to celebrate the fruits of that labor with everybody that listens to it.
You know, you want to evolve and you want to change and you want to try new things as an artist. Your life is learning. You're continuing to learn until you're taking your last breath, I feel, you know, and we have each other to reel each other in, because I'll spin out about it. I'm like, you know, I said to Clown, what are we going to do next? And he's like, what we always do. I'm like, oh, well, that's easy.
It's the Radio 1 Rock Show. This show may contain swears and heavy content. You have been warned.
Made a vow. Make some noise. Give it up for Slipknot.
How you doing, everybody?
Welcome to the weirdest gig we've ever played. All right. Yeah, and I can smell you too. I'm just letting you know.
Are you ready? I said, are you ready? All right, now that we're warmed up, how's it feel? You guys feel good? How you feel? You feel good? Apparently not. How do you feel? How do you feel? Much better, goddammit. Well, I tell you what. I'm going to give you something. You guys want to help me sing on this one? Fucking fuck you. I'm already going to get fined for saying that shit on BBC. Are you ready to help me sing, goddammit? Good Lord. I don't know if you noticed, but we are actually going to give you a song each from each album that we have put out. So right now, we would like to give you a song off of Point 5, The Great Chapter. Would you like to hear a song off that album, my friends? All right. Now, we haven't played this in a while. I lied. We played that this afternoon. But we haven't played it for real people. Well, you're not real people. Let's just see how bad we can fuck this up. Gregor?
You're listening to Slipknot live from Maida Vale Studios, recorded 2 weeks ago today exclusively for the Radio 1 Rock Show.
You feel good? You feel good? Here's the question. Do you feel loud? That's not very loud. So, I'm going to need you to do better than that. Do you feel loud? There you go, bitches. All right. Then I need you to help me sing this. Are you ready? I said, are you ready? Well, I tell you what, the next song is off of Iowa, and I guarantee you they're never going to play this on the air. So, we might as well pull our dicks out. Basically, yeah, that's what this next song means. Then again, I'd hit the trigger, people. Oh well, you'll get over it. This is Slipknot's dick.
Thanks to everybody involved, the Rock Show team, the Slipknot team, label, band, everybody that got to see that truly incredible experience. Songs played were Unsated, Psychosocial, The Devil in I, Duality, Disaster, Peace and Wait and Bleed. You can listen back to the whole thing on the BBC Sounds app. 2 tracks of that are going to be on the Radio 1 YouTube after this show. The rest, they're going to come later. Shout out to everybody that's listening and sending in messages. People like Callum Torchman, Tracy, Billy, Arthur, Jake, Katrina, Diego and Ben. So obviously, as Corey said, that was a truly incredible experience to be in that room. And here's what a few of the people there that made it in thought about the whole thing. Check it out.
I'm William from Inverness.
And I'm Tony, William's mum from Inverness. So I've grown to love Slipknot through William, and then we saw them at Download last year, and that was it. I was like totally, they were just amazing. No, so we've just seen them at Maida Vale. We were so excited coming here, and so excited now, and it's going to take us probably another 24 hours to calm down from it. It's just amazing, absolutely amazing. It's a lifetime memory.
Hi, my name's Kai, and I'm from East London. Mark from East London. It still hasn't sunk in yet that Corey was dead in front of me, Mick was just to my right. Like, it's all still a bit mad.
Being actually, close enough to be able to smell the sweat on them and see that, the sweat dripping down their faces is just one of those unique experiences I don't think I'm going to forget,
You could also see how happy they were to, it wasn't as if it was like a hindrance to them. They were like so happy that they were there doing it, and it solidified the point that Slipknot are for the fans.
The name's Scott from Romford, Essex. Nerve-wracking, massively nerve-wracking. I can't believe I actually spoke to the band. It was quite ridiculous. That is something I'm never going to forget, as long as I live, ever. That was unbelievable.
I'm Adam from Romford. As I was going into year 7 at school, they brought out All Hope Is Gone. I've been obsessed ever since, and nothing short of obsessed either, so today's been really, really special for me. So, and now I've just been there and I've just high-fived Corey Taylor, and life's pretty much complete, I think.
Cassie from Peterborough. I feel like I'm in a dream right now. I'm completely lost for words. It was the most incredible experience ever. This is my 4th time now. This year at Download Festival, last year 8 months ago, so that's pretty crazy to now see them here in the 100 capacity venue is insane.
So good. So, following on from the interview that I did with Jim, Clown and Jay, we also put out some questions to the audience, had a quick Q&A. Here's what they had to say. Yasmin Cousins, hello, where are you from?
Nottingham.
What's your question?
How have your crowds at the live shows changed over the years?
One thing that's real easy is the age. So I don't think we started with something, and that has continued. But as it's continued every year, it's new maggots. It never stops. It's just, we keep everyone with us. So that's how it's changed a little bit. It's like, hey, you're from 98, but you're from 2020, but we're all together. It's pretty bonkers.
Okay, one more. So, Scott Grassick. Scott, where are you from?
Romford, Essex.
Big up Essex. What's your question?
What was the most difficult song to record for We're Not Your Kind?
Who's taking this?
What went through the most
Jay.
iterations? I'm trying to think of what went through like the blender the most times.
I think that's a difficult question, because that would be different for each guy, I think, too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, in the band, because there's, like, Liar's Funeral had nuances and things that we were trying to dial in, and there was so much demoing going on, and sometimes the demo was beating what we were doing. And for Jay, it's a whole different philosophy with, I mean, what he does is physical, and for Clown, there's all this art that was happening in a whole other studio that, I mean, synthesized these modules everywhere and keyboards. And
well, what I felt was so special about this process was the fact that, like, we could sit in a room, learn the record together, and really play it the way we would play it on stage, together with that chemistry between us. Some songs come together very instinctually in, 5 minutes. We've got a great song that we're all really happy with, and some take a lot of churning through multiple iterations and stuff. And some of my favorites are the ones that really show their face at the very end, like Unsainted came together right at the very end with the choir. I think was the last thing that we recorded, right?
Choir was the last.
Yeah, so stuff like that, and that shows its face. That's, the first full band song on the album. So stuff like that's amazing to watch come to life. But it's, it gets pretty arduous when you're like, how is this going to work? And then it shows its face when it should,
Clown, you're in charge of the aesthetic of the band. You artistically drive it. So how do you approach the changes for each tour, for each album, for those cycles? There's so much goes into it. I know you put so much into it.
Well, it all starts basically way back a long time ago when I met Paul Gray, and he's the one, I guess, that saw the art in me. I had no plans being in a band. I was going to move to New York and squat and paint. And so when I approach things, I make sure the one reason why I didn't want to be in a band was because I don't like things staying the same. I don't think that's life, No matter what, it's my job to make sure we don't repeat ourselves. We don't like familiarity. It's not safe for us. That's where everybody loses. You got to change like we change. Basically, if you were around me, it's kind of ironic because I don't think anybody really sees me create. I joke about this all the time. I mean, most people don't even ask me, like, how that picture came about, or it's just Slipknot art, Yeah. So it's a real weird thing because I'm not even getting asked about it. But it would be just like Jay going home. I mean, he doesn't go home and not play drums.
Yeah.
Or
paint.
Yeah, or paint, or be creative, or write, or, whatever. And same with Jim. So we're always on this.
Right. Thank you for that, chaps. Clown, Jim, Jay. Give up.
Thanks for coming out today, all you guys. It means a lot. It's really cool to be able to share this experience for ourselves in this legendary place, but also have it with our people. You know what I mean? So that's what we are. So we'd like to say thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks to the band, to their management, also to Austin. Big ups. Thank you for helping pull this off. Remember, you can check out all of tonight's show on BBC Sounds app. 2 songs from this session are going to be on the BBC Radio 1 YouTube page. The rest are still to come. Hugh Stevens is up next, and I am out. Peace.
Well. I tell you what, I apologize. I don't know if any of you guys were at the London show last night. We gave it hard, and my voice is a little fucked up. But I want you all to know that as long as he's fanning me, we do another 10 songs, man. Jesus Christ. Where you been this whole time? Fuck, this whole time you could have done that, man. We're going to talk. We're going to talk later. You guys have fun? Have you had fun today? This is by far the smallest gig we've played in like 20 years. So you have no idea how much fucking fun we've had. God damn it. This is fucking amazing. Thank you so much. I hope that you guys had as much fun as we have. And I apologize in advance if anybody tries to sue you. But don't look to us for money. We have one more song for you. And we'd like to take you back 20 years to one of the first songs that we ever played on English television. And one of the biggest songs from our first album. Would you guys like to hear something off our first album, my friends? Oh, Jesus. I was hoping you'd say no. All right. Let's see what the fuck we got.